Hey everyone, so I recently made a mistake. I run my last IKEA chair completely into the ground, and so after a decade it was time for a change. And when I was in IKEA recently, I seen this one for like £95 and I thought, that'll do, and I bought it. And that was my first mistake, because if I'd actually tested it in store, what I would have soon probably realised is this is no good for my back. It's literally been really hurting me since I bought this chair. And equally, while you can go back and you can adjust the stiffness of going back, you can't actually lock it in position. So if you did want to chill out, you can't do that. So yeah, a bit of a fail on my part. So in this video, I'm checking out the Boulies Master Rex, which is a lot more customizable, flexible, and ergonomic. So I'm hoping I'm going to really like it, but I'm not just going to literally assemble this chair and hit publish on the video, because that's doing you all the disservice. What I'm going to do instead is stress test this chair for at least a week, and then I'm going to come back with my thoughts. And it's not just me that's actually going to be putting this chair through its paces, it's also going to be my 6-year-old son when he's playing Farming Simulator on here. And you know, my son will be jumping around and constantly fidgeting, putting the chair up and down, and also probably getting these armrests to the exact position where we can constantly whack it against the bottom of the desk and probably scrape them all. So yeah, we're going to stress test it and see you in a week. But first, a quick build montage so you can see all of the steps. Now, I won't talk through all of this montage, don't worry, but I will quickly say that everything in the box was well packaged, and there were instructions which took you step by step, but unfortunately the pictures were super low contrast and therefore hard to see. Luckily though, Boulies had a YouTube video, so I just followed that on my phone, to be honest. Okay, so I've been in this chair for a week now, and in general, I love it, even though there are some issues with it. But you know, I've used it every day, my kids have used it and jumped up and down on it, and they've climbed up on the footrest without breaking anything, which is a relief, because at first I was a little bit concerned about the sturdiness of this footrest, which I'll talk about in just 1 minute, because firstly I wanted to dive into the first issue I had with this chair and give my honest feedback. So when I first had this chair, obviously you got this gear so you can actually put the seat rest backwards and forwards, and at first I wasn't actually going into place properly, it wasn't quite catching in the right position, and I had to redo the intro multiple times because it kept actually clicking and sort of gently threw me forwards and backwards a bit, and I don't exactly know why that was happening, but it did stop after a few days. So maybe, you know, that was just a teething issue with the gear or something which allows you to go backwards and forwards. My second concern was I don't really feel like the chair goes up and down enough. I actually measured it, and I think the difference between the top height and the bottom height is only like 6 or 7 centimeters, and maybe that's normal, you know, 3 or 4 inches I guess, but actually it doesn't really feel like enough. And certainly when my 6-year-old child is actually sitting on here playing Farming Simulator, he ends up having to sort of go like this a little bit, and he's doing it naturally, you know, he likes the chair, he finds it really good as well, same as me, but just naturally you see him sort of boost himself up a little bit even at the highest setting because it's not quite enough. So that is one thing I would like to see, is that it could go up a little bit more and have a bit more range between the top and the bottom, because, you know, I've just shown you the difference there. It's not very much, to be honest. Next up, my other concern was actually with the footrest as a whole. You know, this actual footrest, there's nothing actually securing it in place, it just goes backwards and forwards. There is a little plastic band you put on the end just to stop it from coming out all the way, but in general, when it is all the way back, you know, yeah, you can just literally keep kicking it by mistake because it will constantly rattle, which does get a little bit annoying. And obviously, yeah, this is a very manual footrest, and I'm not sure completely what I expected. Like at first when I seen this and I was installing it, I was like, this is the footrest. Okay, fair enough, I'll give it a shot. Because yeah, it does seem a little bit manual and everything else. Well, it is manual obviously, but you know, it's not like there's a lever or something you can press up here to have the footrest go in and out. You literally need to, you know, move that around and move it in and out, you know, depending on where you want it to be. But in general, it is very, very nice to have it, and I'll talk about the positives in a minute, but it is quite nice just to have that out and being able to go back and relax. It is a very cool feeling, to be honest. So in general, I do like the footrests. I was a bit concerned at first because when I had it out like this, my children were climbing up on this to actually get to the chair, and I was worried that they would have actually, you know, broken it or something like that. But luckily, yeah, it's not too bad. You know, I've told my children children not to climb up on it, but you know, when it's all the way in like that, they can climb up on it. It is quite well supported, but when it's all the way out, I think you would have a bit of a fulcrum effect, and if you were constantly trying to climb up on it there, with it fully extended, it might then break, so that is something to be aware of. For my final nitpick, and then I will talk about positive stuff, this particular fabric is nice, but there are one or two marks which I've left on there. You know, I didn't want to, you know, clean this to perfection when actually filming this video. I wanted to show you after a week what you might end up with. Also, you got this sort of fabric strip down, which I actually really like from a styling perspective, and you've got it on the chair as well. But what I do notice is it's a bit of a dust magnet. It will pick up dust, it'll pick up cat and dog hair and things like that. So obviously just make sure you've got a lint roller handy, but again, that's normal enough with any chair. Same as the cushion, you know, it will pick up a bit of dust. And I know you probably knew that anyway, and that kind of applies to every chair, but I still wanted to talk about that, you know, just to sort of be completely honest about my thoughts about this chair. And with all that out the way, I can now talk about the good things of the chair, because in general, I really, really love this. It looks really nice, it feels really nice, it's comfortable, it looks premium, and I'm really happy with it. I love the fact that, you know, the base of this is actually metal. Like, I was watching a chair review from Ancient Gameplays, and the actual base of it was plastic. This one is not, it's metal. Same as when you're putting this up and down, that's actually metal, you know, a chrome type effect. And some of the other buttons as well are also metal, so that is quite nice. You've got the logo in a few places as well, and in general, this feels like a really nice, stylish, premium chair. So yeah, overall, it's nice, it looks good, it feels good, and everything else. And that brings me to the actual comfort aspect. And yeah, in general, you know, if I'm sat upright like I might be when I'm working, I feel like my back is fairly well supported. Some people did say the lumbar feels a bit too high up, and I felt that at first, but actually I think any lower and it would feel unnatural. Like, it's normal, obviously, based on the curve of your back and your spine, it's normal to have a bit that jets in and then jets back out. Like, that's actually better for ergonomics. But if you are particularly tall or whatever, you can also adjust the height of the lumbar with this. So you can actually turn it and you can actually increase the lumbar support up and down, which is pretty cool. In general, there's quite a lot of customization with this chair as well. I've already shown, you know, it can go back absolutely loads, and I'll talk about that more in a minute in terms of chilling out and watching, you know, content. I'll talk about that in a minute. But you can put that back loads, and then the actual armrests as well. They go up and down quite a lot, which is pretty good. You can also increase the actual angle of this as well, whether you want it angled out or angled inward or just straight ahead. I tend to keep it straight ahead, but that is still pretty good. And the good thing with this as well is, let's say I'm working in this particular setting, actually I can just very easily get this very close to my actual desk because these aren't too high up. But then if, for example, my son wanted to come on here, we can obviously increase the height of this. We can then increase the height of this quite a lot. And you can go in really, really far, because now I've actually got that clearance over my desk. And this is obviously a standard height desk. I'll put the exact measurements on the screen now. But, you know, for my son, he might find it better to actually, you know, be in this particular position. And obviously you might need to raise the monitors and stuff. But, you know, in general, this might work for somebody who's a bit smaller. But then, you know, if you are a little bit taller, you can also get in this position really easy. It's really customizable, which I like. I also like the width of this chair as well, because it is slightly wider than some other chairs. And like, you could potentially, you know, get yourself into this sort of position if you find that comfortable, put the back a little bit. If you didn't want to use the footrest, you could easily enough do that. Like, I'm 6 foot and I have no problem actually doing this, even if it probably looks a bit weird on camera. Finally, before I talk about, you know, my final thoughts on this product and the price and whether you should buy, you know, a chair like this or one that's cheaper or more expensive, I should talk about the fact that you can recline really, really nicely. Like, you can literally almost be lying down and it feels really comfortable. Like, my back feels fully supported here, you know, I don't have any issues with that, and equally I've got the footrest here, so if I was chilling out watching my favorite content on YouTube, then I can do that with no issues, so that is really nice. And then equally, as I mentioned, you know, you can go all the way forward and get into work mode really, really easily. You know, you just tuck this footrest under and it's no issue whatsoever. So in general, yeah, I'm very happy with this Boulies Master Rex chair, and the price does fluctuate. I think right now there's a Black Friday sale, so I'll put links in the description, and I don't earn anything from this video or from, you know, if you click the links or buy this chair. This is just my honest opinion on this particular chair, which I really like, and it's an upgrade over my old IKEA one. And that brings us on to what sort of office chair should you buy, because previously I've always bought ones which are worth less than like £100, but I feel like nowadays, you know, I'm on the computer so much, it is worth spending a little bit more on an everyday comfort, because yeah, you know, if you're sat in a chair 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, is it worth really skimping on a particular chair? Now obviously you could spend 2 or 3 times more than this chair on like a really fancy luxury ergonomic chair, and for me personally, I feel like this is fine for me. Like, I don't feel like I need more. You know, this works well for me, it works well for my 6-year-old son, and my daughter's hopped all over it as well, she's 4. They've had no issues with it too, they really like this chair. So for me, I'm happy with this. If you've got any further questions though, please leave them in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button, and please subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching.